Well, thank you for staying for the last panel of the day. When I first was asked to moderate a panel about staking that doesn't have any staking providers on it, I was, to be honest, a little bit nervous. But then once I heard all the stories that people have, I realized that we actually will explore staking from every possible angle. From a company that's a digital asset treasury company using staked assets to a really amazing case of Doctors Without Borders finding a way to connect with Web3 communities through staking, through a really technical implementation of staking to make sure we get accurate data, and a way for staking companies to actually provide their own liquidity for their tokens. So my name is Anya Nova. I'm with Galaxy Digital. It's a NASDAQ-listed crypto firm. We have asset management, trading, infrastructure. On the infrastructure side, we have GK8, which is where I sit. It's a custody infrastructure layer, so we talk with a lot of staking providers. Galaxy also has a staking business where we validate across many different chains and really build that business with institutions in mind. So how this is going to go is because everybody has quite a unique take on staking, we'll spend a little bit more time on introduction. So just please say your name, explain your business and how it connects to staking. And then we'll just start basically a really lovely conversation because I think we have a lot to learn here from each other. So do you have a microphone? Okay, excellent. So let's maybe start with you, Marcus.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcus. I'm with Balancer. Balancer is a DAX AMM. Has been on-chain for quite a while. Our focus is on EVM chains and bringing a little bit of what we do first and then on the staking side. But the idea is that Balancer was one-stop shop for any strategy to be done on-chain in terms of liquidity, either if you're a protocol, a product, a project that wants to provide liquidity for your own token, you will have the best solution in terms of either concentrated liquidity, full range, stable pools, boosted pools, and I can talk a little bit about that later. But on the stake, so that's for protocols that want to provide liquidity to their tokens. For users that want to find liquidity and do swaps or anything like that, but also for builders that find new ideas of DEXs or AMMs or math pools that they think can be used. Let's say an example here that you want to do a wallet or a vault that is manageable and you have a new product to offer to funds or to investors. That's something that can be built on top of Balancer infrastructure. So either builders, protocols, DAOs, and aggregators and solvers, they can all find the best solution at Balancer. And when we talk about staking, Balancer has for a long time been partners with most of the staking protocols, exactly to be a source of liquidity for their tokens. So it doesn't. If you want that to be liquid, that it can be found and can be traded on chain, you need to have a pool or a way of doing that. And then Balancer is a way that is always being found to be a good place to put your liquidity in and to get it working, and then you have full liquidity for your token.
Thanks, Marcus. So it sounds like we'll touch on some interesting questions around yield maximization versus security, liquid staking, and what's your take on that? And Mario, please, when you told me your story earlier, I was just completely fascinated. I think it's an amazing story. So please just tell us how Doctors Without Borders have gotten into not just staking, but liquid staking.
Thank you for that. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Mario Stephan, and I work for I'm a bit of a UFO here, I feel. I work for a non-for-profit organization called Doctors Without Borders. You might be familiar with them. Very quickly, we provide medical care in situations of war, natural catastrophes, and situations that we call sanitary deserts where people simply don't have access to healthcare. I am in charge of our Web3 projects out of our Geneva office, part of a very exciting and a very cool ecosystem, which is the Swiss ecosystem that was instrumental in allowing us to be here. And so what it is that we do, very simply, we offer the possibility for Ethereum holders to stake part or all of their ETH for the benefits of Doctors Without Borders. So the way it works is you go on our page, you connect your wallet, you decide how much you want to stake. We use the Lido protocol for that. And then you decide among the amount that you want to stake, how much you want to stake for us and how much you want to stake for yourself. And I guess that this is something for us that's a bit different. Instead of asking people to support us by donating their funds, we're asking now to co-create wealth, or maybe just create wealth for Doctors Without Borders. But the difference is here that you end up supporting by keeping your ETH. You stay obviously owner of your ETH, and then the rewards are directly paid for us, and we then use those rewards to support our programs worldwide. I'm very happy to be here because I actually launched this project on this very stage a year ago. We sit today in our vault with over 244 ETH, which is over $1 million equivalent staked into the project, generating rewards to support our projects. And what I want to say is, simplicity was key there. I'm not going to bore you with the aspect pertaining to philanthropy, but for us, it was very important to understand how to speak a language that those new communities that we're not used to speak to would understand, and that co-creation and the fact that you can support us and at the same time you can benefit yourself is, as naive as it sounds, something completely different and something completely new and something that is actually working. I'll finish just by highlighting the fact that, of course, the objective now is to make sure that not only more people stake into the project, but people stake longer and longer and longer, because you can withdraw your ETH whenever you want, basically. And so for that, we've developed a system of points that we call karma points. And so basically, when you stake for us, you get your MSF ETH token, and you can lock that MSF ETH token, meaning your ETH are locked longer for us, and that generates karma points. And in exchange of those karma points, there's very exciting rewards, literally, but also the possibility to really be part of a community and create a community where we advance together in support of different causes around the world. So all it takes is going on our website, connecting your wallet, and that's how it goes.
Mario, thank you so much. And what I want to do a bit later is just jump into the process that you had to go through to actually understand how to launch a project like that within Doctors Without Borders. And Jean, so you next. You're running a very cool public company in France that is managing a large treasury of assets and making it available to others. And what's very cool about it is staked assets. So please tell us, first of all, why? What is the opportunity? How did you decide to do that?
Sure. So thank you very much, Anya. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really happy, yes, to have the chance to talk about Reboost Blockchain Corp. So, well, we are obviously a non-profit organization, so it's a little bit hard to talk after you, Mario. But still, as said, maybe we're going to do something together. So on our side, we are a digital asset treasury company, a diversified one, which is quite unique. It's a very singular value proposal on our ecosystem. And we do believe in the tokenization. And for us, the way to play the tokenization that's going to rebuild all the market infrastructure is to secure the most historical and promising blockchain in the ecosystem. And to do that, it's just a question of stake the token, the native token of those protocols, to be sure that, well, you facilitate the transaction and the way to validate new blocks in the blockchain. So on our side, what we have decided is just to say, okay, we so far we are quite blockchain agnostic. We have selected Ethereum, Solana, mainly due to their historical presence and a lot of transactions that you can definitely see on those chains. And so we allocate part of our treasury on those tokens and stake them through a sub-delegation process because we are an institutional player in the staking field. We do not do it by ourselves to avoid a lot of fixed costs to develop our own infrastructure. So we rely on professional players on that, regulated ones, and our mission for our shareholders, our stakeholders, is just to spot the most promising proof-of-stake protocols in the future and to participate in securing those blockchains via the staking. We'll see, I'm pretty sure in a later stage, how liquid staking or even restaking could reboost the staking yield. But we do see this opportunity as a kind of financial instruments, like a kind of debt, basically, with the funding in the native crypto of the chains and the associated yield that you reach as a staker to participate to the securitization of the blockchain. So this is our mission. This is what we are doing at Reboost. We are a public company, as you mentioned, so listed on Euronext Access. And hopefully we're going to go for an uplisting. But yeah, at this stage, this is who we are and the way that we do approach the staking.
So Jean, basically, if I'm the person who is not comfortable holding crypto or staking crypto, let's say I'm a pension fund or I have certain restrictions, I'm actually able to buy equity in your company and gain exposure to staked assets without having to worry about none of the technology.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. This is it. So we are very attentive to the selection of our partners, as you can imagine, obviously, as you can imagine. And while the interest for investors to buy our equities to benefit from the most historical financial instrument in the world, which are equities, which are well known in terms of tax, in terms of accounting, in terms of transparency as well, because we are a public company. So we offer these benefits to our shareholders through our listed equity. Correct.
Thank you very much for that. Yair, last but not least, you did your best explaining to me the underlying underpinnings of lava networks.
You did great in understanding.
I feel like we got 90% there, but I think it's amazing that you're using staking as a way to ensure a clarity and correctness of information. It's quite an interesting approach. Could you please take us through that as well as just explain some of your recent wins?
Yeah, for sure. So before I jump into why we started building Lava, can I ask who here run his own node? Did anyone run his own node? Okay. Who heard about the term RPC? RPC? Okay, more hands. Perfect. So basically RPC is the language of blockchain. And when I'm a computer engineering by studying. I'm 3 times founder from Israel. And when I jumped into crypto 4 years ago, I was shocked that everyone is talking about decentralization, but at the same time, when it's coming to data, everyone is trusting a few entities. They going to a centralized provider and they say, okay, all the data that I want to access from the blockchain, which is basically by RPC, I'm trusting you to bring it to me. But as we dive even deeper, we see that nobody actually trusts one provider. They go to one provider and the second provider, and then they go to run their own nodes. And this is when we understood that it doesn't make sense when we speak about decentralization as a tool and accessing to all chains. It doesn't make sense that everyone has to build it from scratch. And this is when the idea of building an access layer, kind of aggregating all the node runners in all the geolocations on the world and incentivizing them to give access by competing with each other. Based on the quality of service you give, this is how you get the rewards. This is how we increase the service that you're going to get next time. And we're using staking in order to ensure their accountability. if you want to get to this pool, and let's say you're running Ethereum node, if you want to get to this pool, you need to stake lava in order to get to the pool. With that, you actually say, I am accountable for the information, for the data that I give to you. So if I'm a wallet and I want to let my user get access to their wallet and see account balance and make transaction, so you know that you're not trusting a single provider. You always, as a backup, with that you get to 100% uptime and privacy and accountability and all of these things. So this is how I summarize what brought us to crypto.
Yeah, thanks, Yair. That's very helpful. And actually, something you just said made me think we should take a step back because we have a mixed audience, and because, I mean, we look at the stage. Staking could be so many things. What is definition of staking? Like, where did it start? It was very specifically one thing. I remember, when I got into crypto, it was really all about ensuring the security of the network that we all wanted to use. Then it all became about yield generation, maximizing yield, just became another financial instrument. So how do you, anybody please jump in, how do you balance these two competing properties? Is it all about maximizing yield at all costs? Let's stake something, restake it again, restake it one more time, or is it about security?
Well, yeah, I think this is a very important topic. Sometimes people say, well, how can you stake, or how can you think that is correct to have to wait 1, 2, 5 weeks for you to withdraw, let's say Ethereum from the staking. But sometimes we forget that the idea of staking exactly is to provide security. As Jan was saying, you're staking there, you are getting paid for it, of course, you have rewards, but the goal of staking is that you're committing with the security of that ecosystem that you're participating. So I think that's a very valid point, that sometimes we're talking about, but if I stake it here or there, that's where I'm gonna get yield and restaking. It's really good that that's happening because it's making everything more secure, but in the end of the day, that should be the goal of staking, right? Otherwise, if everyone decides to unstake, there's no more Ethereum or blockchain.
Yes, and I think just we'll go to you straight after. I just wanted to say, for somebody who's completely new to crypto, we had proof of work, of course, where you participated by providing electricity, compute. We had proof of stake, where you still have to figure out how to ensure people have skin in the game. So people have skin in the game by putting their money where their mouth is, making sure they're doing a good job verifying the network. If they do a really good job, they get more. If they do a bad job, they get less. So having said that, John, please.
Yeah, effectively, it's definitely a very important question. I mean, I believe that you have to distinguish the end user and the blockchain by itself, and the way the blockchain is designed, meaning its tokenomics and the way that the inflation is gonna impact what you could expect from the yield as a staker or as a just token holder. So it's really important to distinguish that, because when you are an investor, as you mentioned, Marcus, you just want to maximize your yield. That's it. That's your point. And you say, okay, I'm going to compile the leverage, doing liquid staking, then restaking, then maybe restaking, etc. And you're going to have a leverage of 10. It's really important on your capital. And sometimes, as we have seen last week, you do not understand exactly where is the leverage and the credit risk that you bear as an investor. It's like the tokenomics of a protocol or of a blockchain. If you do not understand exactly how the burning mechanism of the fees, how the inflation of the monetary issuance of token, the blockchain is going to put in place, and the staking yield that you could reach in real, meaning deflated by the inflation, the new creation of tokens, you do not understand exactly what is the sustainability of a blockchain and why is going to be used by so many users, etc. So you have the tech. Let's say, okay, it's really a good blockchain by design for technologies. So you could find some very good usage on it, business case, but it's not used. Why? And just have a look on the tokenomics and you're going to understand why this blockchain is not selected by a lot of investors. So again,
I think you point into some perverse incentives, right? Because you can have an amazing piece of technology, and we have multiple layer 1 blockchains out there. They're all trying to compete with each other for node interest. So that's why we've seen at a certain point a run up in yield. Or you paying 10, so I have to pay 20, so he has to pay 30. And at some point, we have a network that costs a lot of money to secure. If you were running like a physical, I don't know, let's say infrastructure, you would go, okay, well, maybe I have some costs associated with security and risk, but what that cost should be. And did we at some point see those costs become completely exaggerated? So you said your treasury is mostly Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and then some proof of stake tokens.
Absolutely.
So you must be selecting them. You're under pressure to select the best performing one from a yield point of view.
From a yield point of view, to cover, yeah, of course, to cover our fixed cost and variable cost and minimizing the leverage on our balance sheet level, for sure. So minimizing the dilutive effect for shareholders. But in the meantime, if you have a chain or staking yield of 15 or 20%, ask yourself why. For sure, there is a good reason, and your capital is really at risk of having a drawdown in the value of the token. So again, it's a good balance that you have to find between staking yield, tokenomics, perspective for the blockchain, depending on the number of business case already on the blockchain, etc., etc. So this is why also some people decide to go through actors like us in order to delegate that kind of research to be sure that they are betting on the good thing.
Thanks, John. And Mario, so given that there is all this, well, first of all, such a big abundance of projects, so much to navigate, how did you go internally about, first of all, convincing Doctors Without Borders that it's a good idea to do staking in the first place, that it is worthwhile engaging with the Web3 ecosystem? How did you go about finding partners that you can rely on?
I mean, and maybe to also feedback a bit on what has just been said, we came in for the security and we stayed for the yield at the end of the day. And that was the formula. I'm not going to repeat anything, but I obviously recognize myself in everything you said just now. We started initially looking into, from a viability perspective, and as an organization that decided early on by design to only look into proof of stake tokens, we started looking into different staking pools. And from that security perspective, and from that healthy investment outlook on it, liquid staking and liquid staking on ETH for us specifically became quite in evidence. And I think that was one of the first arguments that, of course, I had to dilute and explain to, what is largely a Web 2 organization, even Web 1 by some aspects. But that's really how we got to it. And I think that the security component is a reassuring one. Realistic yields or safe yields that might not be crazy. And what's behind it? How are people using the chain? Why are people converging towards the type of tokens that we're interested in? Were really the key that got the project going.
How did you go with ETH as opposed to Solana, Cardano, so anything else? How did you land on that?
Look, I'll be honest. There was a lot of opportunism there. When we looked into a protocol like the Lido protocol, and we looked into liquid staking, it was at one point like, okay, a leap of faith for us, and let's go with it. But it did present us, the Lido protocol and ETH liquid staking presented us with the guarantees that at the end of the day, from a reputational risk perspective, from looking at what were the prospects and what were the numbers that would make it interesting for this organization to spend time and money on a project like that. But also because we had partners and that came in and brought the technology and brought the expertise and brought the smart contract along. And that's pretty much also the fact that we didn't have to develop anything in-house and trust subject matter experts was really another key thing. And it was a decision from the beginning. I mean, again, I don't want to make it about not-for-profits, but any penny that we invest in a project comes from a donation. So if we're not 100% sure that that investment is bound to, have a decent return, we wouldn't go by it. And of course, when we launched the project, I kept on having people coming, going, "Oh, this is such a great project, but why not Solana? And why not stablecoins? And don't you think that you could generate yield like this, or you could generate yield like that?" And the answer was obviously yes. I mean, we had to start somewhere, but I think gaining trust in looking into an organization for whom liquid staking was just weird concepts. I mean, I was people were looking at me weirdly in the beginning until you see actually the generation of rewards and the rewards coming into the wallet. This is what makes the difference. But a project like that, and where we're going with that project today in terms of looking into other chains to complement it, and looking into yield generating protocols for stablecoins, we're looking into crypto lending models as well. I think the sky is the limit. So I might go back to what you just said. What will drive us is a bit those concepts, those principles, and at the end of the day, for us, it's what drives the community. And that might be a little, a point that's not into staking stricto sensu, but I think when a lot of people share values, we're an independent organization. We don't take funding from governments. We're a bit of the rebels in the system, in our line of work. We speak out when others don't. People recognize themselves into it. And I got a lot of interest from, corporates coming to me and saying, "Hey, you know what? We're trying to develop our ESG policy." Some of them are like, "Look, our CSR policy is hollow today. But this is our core business. This is what we do. How can we work together?" Staking is a very interesting alternative, or a very interesting way forward, not only for me, but for people coming in with technology, with suggestions, and obviously, in our case for now, with ETH coming in. So I think for me, it's really about the strategy itself, what you base it on, and where you're going with it, and less maybe about the protocol or the actual token that you're gonna look into.
And I think also the big breakthrough that you had was that there is this community of people that you can't just go put a button here that says donate your crypto here. There's a lot of hodlers out there who don't want to get rid of the Ethereum, but they're more than happy to stake and to share some of the rewards with you. That's a big kind of philosophical breakthrough that you had.
It is. I mean, I call it a change of paradigm for us, because that's really what it is. Because from asking people to donate part of their wealth, which is how traditional philanthropy has worked up until now, what we're saying to people is, let's co-create. And by co-creating, it's not just availing part of your wealth that you're developing for us, because 3% of zero will always be zero, so you don't lose anything. But you also get a say. And again, if I go back to the community, I think this is what's important, is for us to build together. There are things we will never do as an organization by design, by expertise, what have you, but then we can go in different directions together. And this is what we're looking into right now. So it's really about involving people, and staking gives you this community component and that participative component that you otherwise don't have if you just ask people to give you part of their money. And I might finish with this. Yes, I mean, there are still people who are willing to donate part of their wealth, but when we look at the volatility of crypto in general, of course, and when we look at the strategies to basically, yes, sit on crypto, not necessarily pass it on and all that, I don't think it's very realistic. Right? It's not very ambitious to say, "Hey, why don't you donate, some of your Solana, or you donate some of your Bitcoins?" I think it's much more interesting to say, "Hey, what can we do together?" And this is actually what has convinced people to come and stake for us.
Thank you. And Yair, do you have anything to add either on the earlier conversation about yield versus risk management, or just on anything else that we've covered?
I think that the discussion now is moving from the yield to really production infra. It's the underwrites today, the validation, the way that all the security is now coming over on chain, right? You see that with RWA. You see that with many projects that now the infrastructure has to be to change gears, to shift gears and move forward. So a very interesting case study for us was like last year after we worked on kind of orchestrating all the node runners and bringing them on one access layer to the application. Fireblocks reach out to us and say, look, what you build in this open source, you spoke about NGOs and stuff, but we build at the end of the day open source, and we were one of the first contributors. So it's really interesting for us, this piece of what they call load balancer. Load balancer is a technical term, but it's kind of what everyone here that's using Netflix always can turn on Netflix and see the movie that they want, right? No, you never got a message from Netflix, oh, please come in 10 minutes or in 30 minutes. Like, doesn't matter where you are in the world, they're using an underlying routing layer, which a company called Cloudflare or Alchemy, but at the end of the day, it's routing the traffic. So Fireblocks came to us and say, look, we really like what you do with securing the access to different chains, but maybe you wrap it up as a product. And basically, this is what gave them in Trump Memecoin 100% access, 100% uptime during the Solana Memecoin thing. So, you see a lot of, when you're starting to build, when the first concept of yield, generating yield came, nobody thought there's going to be RWA or different use cases that really need this bulletproof infrastructure. But it's coming today. And Fireblocks, for example, which is the first customer who using this product, they serving 2,000 institutions. We see that with different exchanges, market maker. Anyone at the end of the day need the access to blockchain. And for the people here who knows what's RPC, I like to add, nobody cares about RPC until it fails. This is my take on that.
And you think staking and tokens and ability to pay people real time based on performance is the best way to ensure uptime as well?
You had a beautiful question at the beginning. Do you believe in decentralization, or are you an altruist of decentralization? The way we build Lava is because we think decentralization is a good tool to incentivize different people in a permissionless way and to do a service not based on the reputation, but get rewards on the actual service they give. If one provider doesn't know how to do marketing, it doesn't mean that he doesn't know how to write the code. He doesn't know how to configure the node that you're going to have 100% uptime in Japan and so forth. So with the rewards, you basically making sure that you prioritize performance. And that's, I think, it's very important for the next era of crypto adoption.
Thank you. So we only have a few minutes left, so please share any final words and also let the audience know how people can learn more about you, where they should go. Maybe a quick sort of one-sentence thing about what's in it for them, right? Go to Balancer if you want what?
Yeah. Final thoughts here is, everyone is invited to visit Balancer, balancer.5. If your project wants to add liquidity on chain, if you're creating a new staking project and that project needs to add liquidity, or even if you want to find opportunities of strategies and pool types and different opportunities on chain, that's the place to go. We're in an infrastructure that is being used by a different amount of projects, And yeah, we'd love to meet or talk about it. Thank you.
So Galaxy is a company that you might have heard of already. If you want to learn more, it's galaxy.com. gk8.io is the website to go to if you're an institution looking for self-custody or tokenization.
For me, it's very simple. stake2care.msf.ch. You go in, you just click on connect your wallet. You connect your wallet. You see how much, you choose how much ETH you want to stake, and then you say how much you want to stake for us. You get your MSF ETH token, you lock it, you generate karma points, you keep your karma points, and subscribe to our newsletter if you're into newsletters. If not, look into our different projects. We have also other projects that aim to really build a community around what we do. And if you're looking for some initiatives that would match your ESG policies, come have a chat. I'm around.
For me, it's going to be quite simple. Just visit reboostcorp.com. In few words, if you'd like to be involved in the staking business, staking yield, without any headache in terms of security, in terms of custodial, non-custodial, etc., with no fiscal pressure or accounting headache, please buy some the most historical financial wrapper, which are listed equity.
Thank you.
I will invite everyone to our website, lavanet.xyz. I'm here for the next 2 days. Love to talk to you if you have projects building AI, agents, wallets, and any enterprise that eager to learn more.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.